Good afternoon and good evening, guys. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. I know a little bit later than usual today, so my apologies for that, but good to see everyone. Thank you for joining me. Let's see who's here. We've got Larry. Good to see you. And we've got Catman, aka Dee. Good to see you. We've got Mark and Chris. Hello, guys, the Bash Brothers. Who else has joined us? Paris, good to see you. Rookie, hey there, good to see you. Good evening, Colin. Welcome. Keely, roll tide, Keely. I know we had Project Storytime here earlier. He said he had to go spend some time with his family. So I hope you're having a good day, sweetheart. We have got Trenaculus P. Hey Trenaculus, good to see you. Let's see who else joined us. We have got Lenny Pit Stop. Hello, good to see you. Welcome. Daryl the Derelict, hey there, good to see you. And Andrew 36 and 2, welcome guys. Pod Racing Palpatine, good evening. Hope everyone's doing well. SJ Almighty, hello to you too. Hey guys, I know today for Americans, obviously it's a special day for you guys, and it's a day to remember those who made the ultimate sacrifice. So my respect to everybody who served. But today I wanted to kind of maybe do something a little bit lighter, a little bit more fun. And I was casting around yesterday to trying to think of something that we could kind of talk about that was a little bit different, to kind of get away from the pop culture for a little bit. But we haven't strayed too far, because what inspired this show was actually that it was Mont Blanc's birthday yesterday. Obviously, Mont Blanc, known as the man of 1,000 voices, voiced so many of our favourite characters, both on Looney Tunes and, as somebody else correctly said, on Hanna-Barbera cartoons also. So I thought we'd kind of just talk about our favourite characters, maybe favourite skits, favourite Looney Tunes moments, that kind of thing, and just have a little bit of fun. And hello, Bruce Lombardo, good to see you. Darth Hastel, welcome, good to see you. Hope everyone's doing well. So for me, I was trying to think who my favourites are. I've got to admit, I was never a massive fan of Bugs Bunny. Of the main roster of characters, I always liked Mark Rabbit season. I actually prefer Daffy Duck over Bugs Bunny. I was always rooting for Coyote to get the the Roadrunner. I was never a big fan of Tweety, but again, Sylvester, I was kind of rooting for. And I actually did like Pepe Le Pew, even though he seems to have been cancelled now, unfortunately. um, but yeah, I could see you guys talking about it in the chat, and I did bring it up earlier as well. One of my favourite skits and one of my favourite Looney Tunes moments was the duck season, rabbit season. The way it escalates, and poor Daffy ends up with his beak halfway around the back of his head and then kind of inside out. It still makes me laugh to this day. Hey, Dadman Walking 55, good to see you. He says, yes, down with Bugs, up with Daffy. Also felt sorry for Wile E. Coyote. I did too. And Bruce Lombardo says, Pepe did nothing wrong. Exactly. I agree, Bruce. Steve Mitchum, welcome. Good to see you. He says, this is my topic. I've studied Looney Tunes all my life. I've always enjoyed Looney Tunes, I've got to admit. I grew up watching it. I mean, Looney Tunes, obviously it's by Warner Brothers, comedy short films. They first came about in the 1930, I think, and ran till about 1969, the first set. And that was kind of like the golden age of um, the Looney Tunes. They also had the Merry Melodies as well, which I think were then based off or inspired by Walt Disney's musicals and the Silly Symphonies. So I'd be curious to see, how closely they were followed. And Kronos, good to see you. He says Taz. I like Taz too. Taz was pretty awesome. Good to see you. And Keely, there was a time when Bugs Bunny was jealous of Daffy Duck because of Duck Dodgers. Yes, Mark was talking about that earlier. Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century. And Pod Racing Palpatine, that's why I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So many classic characters in it. I agree. And surprisingly adult as well, considering one, it was by Disney, and two, obviously, as you say, it's crammed with all these famous cartoon characters. But a very fun film. And who doesn't love Jessica Rabbit? I mean, come on. Yosemite Sam, yes. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but poor Elmer Fudd has had his gun taken away from him recently. Do we know if Yosemite Sam has also? Or has he just been kind of shelved as a character? Zadman walking, the cat always pushed Pepe away and often got away. She did, but not because she didn't want his advances. It was because he's a skunk and he smells terrible. Does anybody remember watching Tasmania on Fixed Kids? Yes, I do. I do remember Tasmania very much. That was a good cartoon. I think that was about the same time that we had Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain. And what was but they were kids. Tiny Toons? I think it was called Tiny Toons. Hello, Tim Possible. Good to see you. Welcome. Hope everyone's doing well. So yeah, as I was saying, Mel Blanc, probably the most famous voice actor of all time. Obviously, he voiced Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, so many of these famous characters, and a lot of the characters he voiced when they were doing scenes back and forth. So it must have been a lot of fun to see him switching between the voices so quickly for all these different characters. But definitely an incredibly talented guy. I think he also voiced characters in the Flintstones as well. I think it was Barney Rubble who did the voice of, and Woody Woodpecker. Steve Mitchum, he says most of the characters that you mentioned were created by Chuck Jones. Yeah. He created Pepe Le Pew because he himself was unattracted to girls in high school, or at least he thought he was. Oh, that's quite sad. So he created a character with ultimate confidence, and even though no one could stand to be around him, but he didn't know that. I always liked Pepe Le Pew because he, no matter how many times he kind of got knocked back and kind of rejected, he was always, he'd always try again. And if I remember correctly, there were a couple of instances where he lost his really bad smell, and the cat called Penelope actually finds him attractive. Pod Racing Palpatine. Apparently, Yosemite Sam has been disarmed. It doesn't surprise me, unfortunately, but I wasn't sure. I knew Alma Third had. I think they took his gun away and gave him an axe, if I remember correctly. And Larry June Foray also did female voices and was Rocky's voice on Rocky and Bullwinkle. Cool. That's really cool. I've always been impressed by voice actors. If I could have a talent, I think being able to do different accents and different voices would be pretty cool. Andrew 46 and 2, all Pepe needed was some deodorant. So what about you guys? Who are your favourite characters? Steve Mitchin also says, anyone interested in Looney Tunes, specifically in Chuck Jones, who was the best director, needs to see the documentary Extremes and In-Betweens. Cool. I have to check that one out. And hello, Cardinal Sin. Good to see you. Welcome. Hope you're having a good day. Wonders if Mexican Iron Man is Valhalla's Pepe. No, we love Mexican Iron Man. Mexican Iron Man is very, very smooth. Hey, good to see you. Makuba76. I like Daffy. I think Daffy was probably one of my favorites as well, I've got to admit. Let's have a look. See what else you guys are saying. Immortal Technique says Chip and Dale. I think they were Disney, but I'm not positive. Mark says Daffy Duck all the way. Tiny Toons, Plucky Duck. I completely forgot about Plucky. Yeah. Tronakin says Mexican Iron Man is a southern gentleman now. He is. He's always been a gentleman, but now he's a southern gentleman. And June Foray did Granny with Tweety and the Witch. Oh, I completely forgot about Witch Hazel. I love that character. So the Devil, it's Marvin the Martian. You know, that was another one that I wasn't too keen on. I mean, I've watched some of the cartoons that he was in, but he was never one of the ones that I kind of gravitated towards. So let's have like some of the most famous ones that we did. So I think obviously, other than the Rabbit season 1, there was What's Opera Doc, which I think is one of the most famous ones with oops, skipped on me, with Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd. In a really over the top operatic scene. It's impossible. His favorite is Elmer Fudd. I think Elmer Fudd was pretty cool. Keely, Bugs Bunny, Tweety Bird, Daffy Duck, Sylvester, Roadrunner, Coyote, and Porky Pig. Yeah, that's a cool list. I've got to admit, Porky Pig. He always gets kind of sidelined. I always thought over Bugs and Daffy, but I like Porky Pig too. He's pretty cool. And I suppose we should mention Foghorn Leghorn, since he's Dave Bob's avatar and one of our favourite characters. Really cool. Loved the way he was always kind of getting one up on the dog. And Zara the Derelict says, how about Bugs Bunny staying at Dracula's castle? Abracapocus. Mark says, always wanted Sylvester to devour Tweety as well. Same. I was the same with Tom and Jerry as well. I've got to admit. What's Opera Doc? And the Rabbit of Seville. Oh, I forgot about that one. Yes, that's the one where he pours the lotion on his head, isn't it? And he grows his hair back. But the first ever animated shorts to use the original music without changing it from the medium of animation. It introduced generations to opera. It's probably one of my first times I ever heard it as well, I've got to admit, even though at the time I didn't know what opera was. I just knew I enjoyed the cartoon. And Zadman walking, and they don't make cartoons like these anymore. They don't, no. But even I know obviously Looney Tunes is still going, but it's not quite the same, as far as I remember. So a lot of these cartoons and skits that we've talked about have won Academy Awards as well. That's how big an impact these cartoons have had. And I think it's fair to kind of class them as kind of a cultural icon at this point, because everybody knows these characters, whether or not you've seen the cartoon or not. You know, it's the same as the Disney characters; they're instantly recognizable. Paras says, "Is the Golden Age 44 to 64 your favorite?" I think so. It's obviously, as we've said, it was Mark Blanc doing most of the voices. I love the animation style of it, and I think that's just got some of the best cartoons in that period. Makuba76, remember the episode where Porky and Sylvester spent the night in the haunted hotel? No, I don't. I've probably seen it, but it's not ringing a bell. One Froggy Evening won an Oscar. Yes, it did. My generation did not know Flight of the Valkyrie. We knew Kill the Wabbit. And hello, Happy Dinosaur says, "Hey, what's up, Valkyrie? How are you doing, Happy Dinosaur? Hope you're having a good day." The transition of animation from the 40s to the 50s was my favorite era. I think so. And I do like just the style of the characters, I think, back then as well. I mean, obviously, as time's gone on, the characters have been kind of tweaked a little bit and they've been changed, but most of them, they still look pretty much the same as they did when they were first envisioned. Too much 77. Duck season. You guys are just going to keep this up throughout the whole show, aren't you? I hope so. Somebody in the chat earlier mentioned the Hanna-Barbera cartoons as well. I think in relation, obviously, still by Warner Brothers and still a lot of the same voice actors that worked on Looney Tunes also worked on the Hanna-Barbera cartoons. So it really was a kind of golden age for animation. I'm doing Dynamite. I see what you did there, Happy Dinosaur. Glad to hear you're okay, Valkyrie. I think my favourite episode of Bugs Bunny was when he was in the vampire castle. Uh, I think I remember that one. I definitely remember the one with Witch Hazel and Bugs Bunny, where she's I think she's trying to cook him at the end of the episode, and she can't do it because he looks at her with these great big sad eyes, and then casually unties himself as he always does. Let me look up and I'll see if I can come up with some other ones that were pretty cool. So yep, One Frog Evening. We talked about What's Opera Doc. Let's have a look. It's never a big fan, as I said, of Tweety Pie, but one of the Tweety Pie episodes won an Academy Award, as did one of the Speedy Gonzales episodes too. I'm trying to remember when I first saw them, because I think for me it was shown. I think they were shown on Cartoon Network for a while, and I think then they got moved on to another channel. But I'm pretty sure they were shown on terrestrial TV as well. Colin might be able to help me with that one. My memory's going. Bruce Lombardo says, any of the Marvin the Martian skits are a joy for me. I need to go back and watch Marvin the Martian, I think. It's gonna be one of those that I need to go back and revisit. And hello, Rabbit Scholar. It's Rabbit. Let me start again. Rabbit Slug Ouchies. Hey, Kronos. Good to see you. Oh, Paris said it was Boomerang. Thank you, Paris. I knew it was one of those. Thank you. Chuck Jones says he hopes that he has Bugs Bunny, but if he's honest with himself, he realizes that he's probably Daffy Duck. Super or Sonic is a classic where Barney actually catches the Roadrunner. Yeah, I really didn't like that Roadrunner, I've got to admit. But then again, the Coyote was kind of stupid, but always trying, just sometimes yeah. What's the saying? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Yeah, just go find some other food, Coyote. That scrawny little Roadrunner really isn't worth the effort. But I did always love the Acme products that he always came out with, especially things like the jetpack. And I always loved to see him painting the tunnels on like the side of the cliff, and then have the Roadrunner run into the tunnel. That was always pretty funny. Rise and Shine. Heck, I'm old enough to remember seeing them on the BBC ITV when that was all we had. I thought it was on terrestrial TV. I just couldn't remember where they were shown. But the chances of them not being there, I thought were pretty slim, to be honest. But as a Roadrunner tastes like chicken, that thing would have had to have been delicious for him to keep chasing after it for so long. And hello, Roger H. Good to see you, honey. He sends us a super sticker. Let me just check. Oh, it's a thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you, sweetheart. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. I hope you're having a good day as well. Roadrunner in particular was an excellent use of visual jokes, actually using the 2D, 3D very cleverly. I thought so. I've got to admit. I always loved the kind of the slapstick humor of the Looney Tunes, and some of the jokes were surprisingly clever. And I think a lot of cartoons that have come after definitely took inspiration from them. And Deadman Walking says, I also love the train tunnels. But if you ever caught the Roadrunner, Acme products would probably go out of business. Yeah, you're probably best not to kind of look too far into it, but you can't help but wonder where he got all this cash from. And if he could build all these amazing Acme products, why was he wasting his time out in the desert chasing after a scrawny Roadrunner? Trinaculus P says, I'm a Waterlance fan. The cartoon Musical Moments from Chopin and Andy Panda and Woody Woodpecker, 1946, nominated for an Academy Award. Not one word of dialogue, but perfectly synchronized animation. Nice. I think I know the one that you mean, and yeah, it was absolutely spot on. And I think it's also worth mentioning, obviously, all of these were hand-drawn cartoons at the time. Remember when Daffy had to evade the man from the draft board? I was wondering who the CEO of Acme really was, Bugs or Roadrunner. That's a good question. I'd like to think it was actually Roadrunner. That's why none of the projects ever worked. Everything he ever bought had a flaw in them. No matter how carefully they were put together, they'd always fall apart at the worst possible moment. Or, he'd pull on the cord and nothing would happen, and then he'd walk in front of the trap and then it would spring. Rabbit like actually says Bugs was the CEO. I could probably see that as well, to be fair. So we kind of touched on Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That's a pretty good kind of crossover, and one that's I was really surprised about the first time I saw it because I got so excited. You know, this is a crossover with all of my favorite cartoon characters. We've got the Disney characters, we've got the Looney Tunes characters, and they're all interacting. Um, Plus, I really like Bob Hoskins. I thought he was a great actor. Acme products worked fine. They didn't work the way Coyote expected them to work. I agree. They always had a fatal flaw to them. Baby Herman shorts are great. I remember Baby Herman from Hugh Train, uh, from Roger Rabbit. Who framed Roger Rabbit? I remember obviously as soon as they say cut and he's pulled out a cigar and starts smoking, that's just funny. Let's see what else. So I think it was mentioned before. Let's have a look, see what else we can bring up. Oh, and that was the other scene that I was going to mention in the film, the dueling pianos. That was one of my favorite scenes where they just keep escalating, and eventually a cannon comes out. I think it was I don't remember whether it was Bugs or Daffy that eventually kind of take them out. And Bruce Lombardi, the only person I feel compares to Mel Blanc is Frank Welker. I would agree with that. I'm a huge fan of Frank Welker. Um, so I'd say Frank Welker obviously is the natural successor to Mel Blanc. Come to think of it, didn't Mel Blanc also voice Tweaky in a certain Duck Dodgers rip? Oh, let me just scroll back up. Cardinal Sin, thank you, sweetheart. He sends us a $5 super chat. Thank you. He says, Purple Valkyrie, I love the sound of your laugh. It's infectious. You're peeling with laughter and it really brightens my day. Thank you. Thank you, sweetheart. I know obviously today it's a little bit more somber. A day, it's a day to pay our respects. But I just wanted to have a little bit of a more light-hearted show to give you. So, and a huge thank you to everyone who's joined me because I know we're about 4 hours later than we usually would have been today. So thank you guys, and thank you, Cardinal Sin. I would like to play patty cake. Frank Welker was Uni from D&D, Megatron from Transformers, and thousands more he was. He also voiced in Dungeons and Dragons. He was also the voice of Tiamat as well. So he did the harmless little unicorn and the huge, powerful dragon. I really like that cartoon. Too much 77 says Yosemite Sam was awesome too. You know what? Yosemite Sam was actually one of my favorite characters. I'd love to see him just kind of lose it, and to see Bugs Bunny walk in circles around him all the time. I think my favorite thing that he used to do is obviously when he used to get really mad and he'd get really red in the face, and then he'd get his guns out and start shooting and just kind of shoot the floor, and he'd go up in the air. That always made me laugh. And thank you, Steve Mitchum. Yes, thank you guys. Appreciate that. Mark says, let's not forget Tiny Toons. Even though Mont Blanc didn't have anything to do with it, it's still part of the universe along with Animaniacs. It is. And I liked Tiny Toons. I definitely remember watching it when I was a kid. Uh, I I think I preferred Animaniacs and what was the other one that was there around the same time? There was Pink in the Brain, Animaniacs, and Freakazoid. That was it. And I think Taz, that the 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 Taz cartoon was around about the same time as well. Pod Racing Palpatine says, why is it not pronounced like Marmite? Yosemite Sam. Who didn't love Benny the Cab? Benny was awesome when he gets the I always felt bad for him when he drives through the dip and his tires puncture. I was like, oh, that's really sad. But it wasn't as traumatizing as watching Christopher Lloyd dunk the shoe into the vat of dip. I don't think I'll ever get over that. Oh, now that I think about it, that film was surprisingly adult. It had a lot of innuendo, even if you don't include, obviously, Jessica Rabbit and Christopher Lloyd as Judge Dredd. It always scared me when I was little. Colin says all of those were after my time, to be honest. I remember them. I remember enjoying them, I've got to admit. Back when cartoons were good, and they all played back to back, if I remember correctly, as well. That's probably the best way to watch them, Mark, to be fair. Hey, hey, the John Beck, welcome. He says, "Are Marmite and Bovril the same?" I think they are, but not sure. If I remember correctly, they're very similar. Um, I think Marmite was. I think Bovril is the UK version, and then we've got Marmite, and then there's Vegemite as well, which I think is Australian. I actually don't like any of them. I think they're all awful. Sorry, Colin, not Judge Dredd, Judge Doom. Sorry. Yeah, Judge Doom. Although, seeing Christopher Lloyd as Judge Dredd, that would be pretty funny. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Did I just see you making a cup of mine's milk with 2 sugar? No, I'm drinking water. It's probably the ice cubes that you can hear clinking against the side of the glass. I have a bit of a sore throat at the moment, so I'm having to drink a lot, so I'm not coughing. Trying to get his face. Says, Baby Huey used to be my nickname when I worked in a factory. The guys thought it was funny. I was 17 and bigger than them. Chris says Vegemite is a clear winner, even if I can't eat it. I'm gonna say okay. I can't eat any of them because I think I've tried Marmite once, and it was just too weird tasting. It was really salty, and I didn't like it. So I've stayed clear of it ever since. But I know a lot of people like it. SJ Almighty, I can remember all the modern Warner cartoons on CITV in the UK. I think they were back to back. I think they were as well, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think it was Saturday mornings that they used to show them. So I think they used to show obviously because it was Warner Brothers, the Batman animated series as well. And that was pretty cool. I love that show. I have to do a show about that one of these days. Anything ending with might as a suffix doesn't sound that appetizing at all. uh, it is, yeah. If I remember correctly, that's the veggie version, Colin. But it's still not great. Not nothing nothing that I would go crazy for. And hello, Gary Banjo Whitton Worthington. Good to see you. He says, loved In Shy Private Eye. I forgot all about that character. I suppose if we're going to go into the Hanna-Barbera cartoons, it would go into things like Flintstones, Yogi Bear. We had Jetsons, Wacky Races, I think was mentioned early on in the chat. Scooby-Doo, Captain Caveman. That was a weird one. I got a feeling that was Mel Blanc as well, if I remember correctly, who did the voice of Captain Caveman. My namesake is the other famous duck, but I always have liked Daffy better. Maybe because I could understand what the heck he said. Yeah, I've got to admit that's probably why I prefer Daffy as well, because Donald was just I had no idea what the heck he was saying most of the time. Looney Tunes Cartoon Hour was the last Saturday cartoon of the day. As soon as it was over, Soul Train came on. Oh, okay. And John Beck says Droopy and Chilly Willy. I remember Droopy definitely. Was Chilly Willy the penguin, if I'm remembering it correctly? It rings a bell, but I can't picture what the character looks like off the top of my head. But I think it was the penguin. You'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, though. It happens frequently. Top Cat. Yes, I remember Top Cat. Top Cat was pretty cool. You got it. You got it, Rabbit Slug. Goop and the Ghost Chasers. That one doesn't ring a bell. Or if it does, it's not one that kind of stuck with me. I do remember Jabberjaw, which I think was the shark, and I do remember the talking car, but I can't remember off the top of my head what it was called. Or something buggy, if I remember correctly. And I think Secret Squirrel as well was out at the same time. Hasta says Chilly Willy was a penguin. Thank you, Hasta. I thought it was, but I couldn't remember. Thank you, John. The little penguin who would sometimes cry ice cubes. Oh, I'm gonna have to look up Chilly Willy again. Dynamite. Oh my god. Now you're bringing up some characters. Dynamite was an awesome sidekick. Dynamite was an idiot. But he was a cool character. Of all of them, I think the one that I actually liked the least, if we're going to talk Hanna-Barbera, was Scooby-Doo. I don't think I've ever been a fan of any of the versions of Scooby-Doo. There's just something about it. And Colin says Hong Kong Phooey. I remember that character. And Punkwaddle, hello, good to see you. Welcome. All right, he was still awesome. Okay, all right. He was idiot, but he was awesome. Was Bonkers Warner Brothers? I'm not sure actually. I can't remember, to be honest. SJ Almighty, possibly. I remember the character. It was kind of like a cat-looking character, wasn't it? Droopy was so laid back and sad-eyed. Do you guys remember the wolf that used to whistle at the redhead? I can't remember what he was called, but he was also a cool character. Mrs. Deadman 55. Hey, it says Grape Ape, Purple Gorilla. Yes, I remember that one as well. It was a cat police officer. Okay, thank you. Thank you, SJ Almighty. Trinacular says Wacky Races had Dick Dastardly voiced by Paul Winchell, who designed an artificial heart that wasn't as well known as Jarvis, yet stingingly shared features later. I remember Dick Dastardly. Wacky Races I do remember, and the other one was it Catch the Pigeon? That was kind of odd. Danger Mouse. Oh, I remember Danger Mouse. Oh, okay. Sorry, Trinaculus. I got you. Okay, thank you, honey. Too much 77 says that as a kid, I couldn't stand Disney cartoons. Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies were so much cooler. You know what? I'd be inclined to agree. Um, a lot of the Disney cartoons, at least when I was growing up, they were all based on films that had been released. So it was things like the Little Mermaid cartoon. I think there was a Hercules cartoon. There was a Buzz Lightyear cartoon. It was those kind of things. Um, I think the one that I really enjoyed that came from Disney was Gargoyles, and that was a pretty cool film series. Sorry. The only good thing about Scooby Doo was Daphne and cosplay Velma. Let's see what else you guys are saying. I bet you would, Rabbit's Low Cheese. I bet you would. Goodness, since I love Danger Mouse. I did too. I've got to admit, it was a cool character. Um, I think it was one of those that I never really watched. I watched it if it was on, but it wasn't one of those ones that I've watched every single episode. But I definitely remember the character being pretty cool. Oops, it skipped on me. Sorry, guys. Gargoyles and DuckTales are the only Disney cartoons worth watching. DuckTales, when it first came out, was great. I have no idea what the remake's like. Gargoyles, I did enjoy, and if only for the theme song, Gummy Bears. Didn't like the cartoon, but the theme song just kind of gets stuck in your head. Bruce says, "Wait, there are photos of Purple Valkyrie as Velma." Nope, not a cosplay I've ever done. Sorry, honey. Although I'm wearing glasses at the moment, if that helps. Had to go back and watch Danger Mouse. Had it confused with something else from when I was a kid. Oh, and Darth Hasta said he loved Tailspin. I completely forgot about Tailspin, actually. Yeah, I remember that one. That one was the characters from the Younger Book, if I remember correctly. I thought you meant the original one, Mrs. Deadman. I thought that was the case, yeah. Colin says, didn't Penguin Cumberbatch voice Danger Mouse in the remake? I have no idea. I know the original, it was voiced by David Jason, if I remember correctly. And Pod Racing Palpatine, now you've got the song stuck in my head for the rest of the day. Thank you. Oh, DuckTales went woke. Oh, that's a shame. Not surprising, but a shame. Only realised last year that Danger Mouse was based on Danger Man. You know what? For the longest time, I didn't realise that either. I've got to admit. Bruce, I was basically loved all the Marvel cartoons in the 1980s, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Inhumanoids, Jen, and the holograms. Damn, now you're taking it. Now we're talking. I think, other than obviously Looney Tunes being back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, the 1980s had the best cartoons. People can be cynical and say that they were all about selling toys, but I love 80s cartoons. um, Alexander Armstrong did the voice of the Danger Mouse in the modern version. Oh, okay. I did not know that. That's pretty cool. Herculoids. That's an obscure one, Cardinal Sin. I think somebody the other day was talking about also Brave Star. Pirates of Dark Water was another obscure one. And what was the other one? Thunder the Barbarian. The original DuckTales was good. It was good. I enjoyed it, I've got to admit. And Darkwing Duck. Darkwing Duck was a great cartoon. Voltron. You know what? Probably going to get cancelled, but Voltron's one of the few cartoons that I didn't watch a lot of. And hello, Kaylee. Good to see you, sweetheart. Welcome. She says, I miss watching Looney Tunes. I loved it so much. Me too. Ever so often, if I've got time, I'll turn YouTube on and just go searching for some of the Looney Tunes cartoons. Yeah, it's always fun to watch. And hello, Dave Bob. Dave Bob says Johnny Quest. That was a good one. There was also Crystar, Bigfoot, Pirates of Dark Water. Yep. Love you, Purple Valkyrie. Love you too, Bruce. Inspector Gadget. Inspector Gadget was a good one. That was one of the cartoons that was on all the time. At least it felt like it. Tronaka said, not a mech fan, please don't cancel me. You know what? Other than Transformers, I'm not really either. And I've got to admit, I'm not really an anime fan either. So you can cancel me for that if you like. Now we're getting to some obscure ones. Sinbad Jr. and his magic bat. MeTV has Looney Tunes every morning for an hour and every Saturday morning for 3 hours. Okay, that's cool. I think eventually I'm gonna have to buy a box set of the Looney Tunes. You can get the first you can only get the first 3 seasons of Gummy Bears on DVD. Seasons 4 to 6 were never released on DVD. That's a shame. Although I've got to admit, I didn't realise that there were that many seasons. But that's pretty cool. And Cardinal Sin says, own all 4 seasons of Thunder the Barbarian. And again, Thunder, I didn't realise there were that many seasons. I remember watching the episodes, but I did not know there were 4 seasons. And Ulysses 31 was awesome, especially for the intro, the theme song. that another one that just gets in your head and stays there. And Black Star, Astra, I remember Black Star as well. Good question, Paris. Is Foghorn Leghorn a hillbilly or a redneck? I have no idea. I would have to defer to the chat on that one. And Chris says obscure is the Hanna-Barbera cartoon, Jazan. Yep, me too, pod racing Palpatine. I've got it stuck in my head as well. And long may it stay there. Bruce, don't remind me. It's okay, the live action Gem and the Holograms was so bad it's never been released on Blu-ray. For some weird reason, they had this thing about doing 80s cartoons as live action, and I think most of them have been absolute failures. So I think Gem was done. Obviously, we've had several live action Scooby-Doo cartoon films, Transformers, G.I. Joe. And I think, if I remember correctly, even Josie and the Pussycats was made into a live action film. The whole Ulysses 31 soundtrack is awesome. Oh my gosh. Anyone recall the Arabian Nights cartoon? Asked Pod Racing Palpatine. I'm trying to remember if I do. It's not ringing a bell. If I've seen it, probably not. And hello, Snortopoopas Cuba. Good to see you. Welcome. Oh my gosh. So what do you think, guys? Do you think Looney Tunes is some of the best cartoons ever made? I think so. It's one of those cartoons that same as Tom and Jerry, you can just kind of sit down and you can watch one, or you can watch 20, and they're still fun and they're still funny, and you can still admire the animation. You can still admire the talented people that brought these cartoons to life. And whenever I'm feeling down, they always cheer me up. I miss the 80s, says Rabbit Slug. She's me too. The 80s was pretty good. The 80s was great. There's a lot of nostalgia for the 80s at the moment, especially from people that didn't live through the 80s. Kind of rose tinted glasses, I think. But great films, great cartoons. The fashion, not so much. Condescend, do I have all of the Looney Tunes cartoons? I don't, unfortunately. No. I have a few of the kind of the compilation ones, but I haven't ever picked up like the full definitive set, if there is one out there. It's something that I'll probably have to look into, to be honest. And Hong Kong Phooey, I remember Hong Kong Phooey. I wasn't born until the year 2000. Oh, but I enjoy some of the films back then. But that's the good thing. If you're not enjoying what we've got now, there's so much stuff that you can go back and watch. Oh my gosh. Oh, Lost Cities of Gold, Pod Racing Palpatine. Another one with a awesome theme song. Now you're going to get that stuck in your head, but at least it will knock Ulysses 31 out of there. Oh my god. Come on, I'd love to see Purple Valkyrie with shoulder pads, a shaking its sweater, parachute pants, and leg warmers on a shag carpet. I think the static electricity generated alone from all that would be able to power a small city. So probably not, Bruce. Never understood why shoulder pads were a thing. I didn't never got it. Didn't get it at all. Never gonna get any sleep with these tunes in my head. That's okay. The best way that you can get rid of them is by going and watching some of the cartoons. I think that would help. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys. And hey, Joshua Lebeck, welcome, sweetheart. Good to see you. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Having an okay day. Thank you, honey. Hope you're having a good one too. Oh, well, let me just grab this one. SRB Dino Riders. I don't remember Dino Riders. Mostly I remember Dino Riders because they did a toy line that's ridiculously hard to find. They're some of the most sought after toys because they just didn't sell at the time. And now everybody wants these dinosaur toys. Oh my gosh. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining me. As I said, apologies for having to push it back a little bit later today. But thank you everyone for coming and hanging out. It was great to see everybody. I'll be back Wednesday at the normal time. So big thank you to you guys, and thank you to everyone who sent the super chat and the super stickers. You guys are the best. I will probably see you all tomorrow morning in Loki's chat, and then, as I say, we'll be back normal time on Wednesday and normal time Friday. So you guys have a fantastic rest of your Monday, and I will see you soon. Bye, guys. Mwah.